Ladies and gentlemen, the next contest on TNA Impact is a hardcore match as booked by Mick Foley and scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, representing the main event Mafia from Detroit, Michigan, Big Poppa Steiner.
And while Steiner enters for the hardcore match against Abyss, Monster can use any weapon of his choice. Big Poppa told by Foley he's not allowed to use any weapons. Let's go back. Let's recap this very unusual edition of Impact, courtesy of Kurt Angle in the main event Mafia.
Well, it all started with a 4-on-1 beatdown as it was the Entourage, Awesome Kong, Sojo Bull, Raisa Saeed, and Raka Khan as they took on ODB.
Booker T left the announce position to face TNA referees Rudy Charles and Andrew Thomas. Legends champion obviously trying to send a message to referee Shane Sewell. He took out his fellow officials. He intimidated Earl Hebner, and then the axe kick on Shane, the exclamation point.
I'll tell you what, it was the blueprint Matt Morgan against Maple Leaf Muscle Petey Williams. The problem was Petey had to have one arm tied behind his back, so it allowed Matt Morgan to get the victory.
Angle's effort to even things up, pitting Sting in a handicap match against Team 3D, saw main event Mafia involvement. First it was Scott Steiner, then Kurt Angle causing the disqualification until finally Mick Foley arrived with Abyss and LAX to stop the Mafia onslaught, and in the process set up this match involving the Monster and Big Poppa Pump.
And his opponent stands 6 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 350 pounds, the Monster.
What a situation we saw last week on Impact involving the Monster Abyss. And I think it's safe to say his former tag team partner, the Blueprint Matt Morgan.
I'll tell you what, it took a wicked turn when you thought they'd made up and they were working together against Beer Money. And then Matt Morgan split the head open, and I mean literally split the head open of the Monster Abyss and the blood gushing. Well, they'll get a chance to face each other and against all odds. And you know what? I like this with the weapons. I like what Mick Foley's doing. Get these weapons back in the hands of the Monster Abyss. Get him to revert back to that old monster. And he's going to need to be that way when he's one-on-one against Matt Morgan and against all odds.
Yes, indeed. It looks like it's an opportunity for all of us to see the old version of the Monster Abyss. Remember all those therapy sessions? And they're trying to have his therapist as weapons are being flying here on the ringside area. Look out, Doc.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott Steiner's trying to throw him out as fast as the Abyss can throw him in. Remember, Scott Steiner can't use weapons in this match. Abyss can. Scott Steiner's just going to have to use his coy, use his cleverness, and that's what he does right away as he attacks Abyss as he enters the ring.
Perfect game plan unfolding here for Steiner under the circumstances where he can't use any of the weapons, and the Monster Abyss has got trash cans full around ringside. Steiner cuts him off, and now trying to take out the Monster early on.
I'll tell you what, though, how about Mick Foley coming in with LAX, coming in with Abyss, and kind of getting this ship back righted up as Team 3D was getting beat down by the main event Mafia, and now things are going to turn because Kurt Angle. And let's talk about that situation where he's putting the handicap match on Sting. You got to know there's some psychology there as he's trying to set Sting up. You think there's some friction going on between Sting and Kurt, but I like what Mick Foley did. Kurt's going to have to defend 2-on-1 himself against LAX.
Well, you're right. All in anticipation of the big showdown and against all odds, the four-way match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Off the series of clotheslines, Steiner slowly makes his way up in the corner, and here comes the charging 350-pound, 6'8" monster, and he just barreled him over.
Well, you could just see in just his attitude alone that Abyss is getting back. He's reverting. He's got that chair in his hand. He used to be afraid to hold it in his hand. Now, after what Blueprint Matt Morgan did to him last week, splitting that head open, I think he realizes he has no choice. He has to become that monster. He has to become that man that is afraid of no pain whatsoever. And you can see Scott Steiner trying to get some weapons, but he can't use them.
It's against the rules. Mick Foley laid down the law earlier in this hardcore match. Abyss can use any of the weapons he chooses. Scott Steiner cannot use any of them.
Scott Steiner, I think, just trying to find some way to get out of there, but oh, right into the bell! He just smashed his head right into the bell as they knock over the table that holds it as Abyss in total control right right now, and, you know, the cliche rang his bell, but that's exactly what happened.
Definitely. The old monster is back. There goes Steiner. You see our Spanish broadcast position over there, and Steiner set up against the wall. Abyss measures. Gets that adrenaline flowing. And as he turns around, he's going to charge at Big Poppa Pump, and Steiner moves out of the way. He went right through the wall.
He just smashed right through the wall as Scott Steiner had just enough presence of mind.
Don't go anywhere. When we return to Impact, more of Scott Steiner and Abyss Hardcore Rules.
They are the standard for which others are held. 21-time World Tag Team Champions Team 3D, the most dangerous man in wrestling, Kurt Angle, and the Icon Sting wage war in a four-way battle for power and possession of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. It's every man for himself. TNA Wrestling presents Against All Odds, live Sunday, February 8th, only on pay-per-view.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on Impact, and Don, right before we went to break, the Monster Abyss went right through the wall.
Well, this is how things turned around for Scott Steiner, and he needed this kind of luck, as Abyss was focused on just putting Scott Steiner out of his misery, charged like a raging bull, but Steiner able to get out of the way, and Abyss went right through the wall, and Scott Steiner's turned it around. Tell you what, at Against All Odds, we're going to get to see Scott Steiner and Petey Williams one-on-one. I was impressed with how Petey Williams handled himself with one arm tied behind his back. And again, it was a situation where Scott Steiner got involved and it caused him to go right into that carbon footprint. But I'll tell you something, I think that's going to be one interesting matchup.
This is what we anticipated. Intimidation from Steiner, but he turns around and Abyss put the big fist directly into the chair, and down goes Big Poppa Pump.
I'll tell you what, he didn't get to use the chair as a weapon because Abyss turned it right against him. And now Abyss has got that big steel garbage can. Oh, right on the head. Crush a mundo. 1, 2, go.
That was the knockout blow, didn't you? That big trash can shot to the head, and amazingly, Steiner able to avoid the 3 count.
I mean, we knew he was hard-headed, but good Lord, able to get your shoulder up on that, that's pretty amazing. It really is. And you can see Steiner, though, bleeding on the forehead where that trash can hit him. So he uses the low blow, the kick right behind him into the groin.
Boy, the low blow by Steiner turns things immediately in his favor, and there goes Abyss, head first, face first, right into the chair. Check out the head of Scott Steiner.
I'll tell you what, you got to give Scott Steiner credit. It was Abyss that set that chair up in the corner, so you can't say that Scott Steiner pretty much used the weapon. Oh, no, he's got the ring bell again. You know, he felt it earlier. He wants Abyss to feel it. It always reminds me of Genesis when Kurt Angle picked up that ring bell and smashed Jeff Jarrett, so we know the damage it can do.
Referee Johnson insisting that Steiner not use that timekeeper's bell. Abyss back up, gonna try and, well, he takes that bell, tosses it right down. Here comes the choke slam, and Steiner right through the trash can.
I mean, look how he flattened the trash can. 1, 2, oh, unbelievable. Steiner again gets the shoulder up in time.
Boy, Abyss reverting back to his old ways with the use of the weapons. You see the blood flowing from the head of Big Poppa Pump Scott Steiner, but the monster just cannot put Big Poppa Pump away.
Well, and that's a testament to Scott Steiner. I mean, this guy's taken some abuse there, and he's still walking. I mean, barely. But Abyss, the thing I like is that expression in Abyss's face. You can feel him reverting back to his old ways. Every time he gets something in his hands, he wants to use it and smash you with it. And that's what, oh, there's that steel pipe. Caught the bell, and they're disqualifying the match because he used the pipe as a weapon.
Referee Stick Johnson asking for the bell, but of course you can't ring the bell. The timekeeper doesn't have it. The match is over because of the disqualification. And look out! Wow!
I'll tell you what, it's broken down now.
This is the unpredictable Scott Steiner that we all know. Oh, God!
Holy cow! Folks, if you're in the crowd, be careful. Keep your eye. I know, but I'm just saying, I worry about everybody's well-being when he gets like this.
Steel chair shot! Oh, one to the back, that one to the head. Oh, and another one.
Unbelievable as Abyss. That's got to be taking him back to last week. Those flashbacks of Matt Morgan doing it to him, and now look at this. Steiner using it. What? What? Suicide?
You see that the lights have gone out in the impact zone. And there he comes. Here comes Suicide.
I'll tell you what, not a minute too soon is Suicide able to get into the ring as and Scott Steiner was taking it to him, and now Steiner looking around, not knowing what to do. He charges him, but look at Suicide.
It's been several weeks since we've seen Suicide here in TNA. This is his return, and just in time to save the Monster Abyss.
I'll tell you what, he put that elbow right into that bloodied head of Scott Steiner, and now look at Suicide taking over. Oh, putting it into the turnbuckle.
Scott Steiner taken down, taken out by the returning Suicide, this very mysterious character from TNA Impact's video game.
Well, we haven't seen him in weeks and weeks, but Suicide's back. And you know what, Abyss is going to be happy because Steiner was taking over, but Steiner didn't know what to do with Suicide.
Suicide back, and again the lights go out here in the Impact Zone. Boy, just in the nick of time to save the Monster Abyss from that brutal beating when the lights come back on.
Just like that, he's going.
The winner of the match as a result of a disqualification, the Monster Abyss!
Hardcore weapons matchup via disqualification goes to the Monster Abyss. Mick Foley made it to thwart the efforts of the Main Event Mafia. Their total takeover tonight here on Impact, and in the end, via disqualification, the Monster Abyss is victorious.